Hello and welcome to Leveraging Low Code to Deliver Digital Services. Today's webinar is sponsored by OutSystems and produced by Actual Tech Media. My name is Scott Becker. I'm from Actual Tech Media and I am excited to be your moderator for this special event. Now, before we get to today's great content, we do have a few housekeeping items that will help you get the most out of this session. First off, we want this to be an informative event for you, so we encourage any questions in the questions box in our webinar control panel. Not only will we have team members responding to questions during the live event, but we'll also have a dedicated Q&A session at the end of the presentation where we'll discuss in greater detail some of the top questions that you ask. That Q&A panel is also the place to let us know about any technical issues you might be experiencing. A browser refresh is going to fix most audio, video, or slide advancement issues in the unlikely event that you have any. But if that doesn't work, just let us know in the Q&A and we'll provide further technical assistance. Now, in the handout section of your webinar control panel, you'll find that we're offering several resources. I'd especially like to call your attention to an ebook, IT Leader's Guide to Building Customer Apps and Portals. Great resource. Please check that out. Also in there, you can find a link to the Gorilla Guide Book Club, where you can get access to Actual Tech Media's great printed resources on technology topics, as well as a link to the ATM Event Center, which has our calendar of upcoming events. So I encourage you to access those resources now and share them with your friends and colleagues. Now, at the end of this webinar event, we will be awarding a $250 Amazon gift card to one lucky registrant. Of course, you must be in attendance during the live event to qualify for the prize. Official terms and conditions of today's prize drawing can be found in the handout section. Just scroll to the bottom and you'll find the prize terms and conditions link there. Now, finally, one of the best benefits of this event is the opportunity to ask a question of our expert presenters. And to help encourage your questions, we have a special additional prize for you. That's another Amazon gift card, this one for $50 for the best question. After the event is over, we'll look at all the questions that came in, pick out the very best one, and contact that prize winner. And with that, let's get to today's fantastic content. So it's my pleasure to introduce you to our presenters today. We have Mafalda Pafoas, who's Senior Solution Strategist at OutSystems, and Janus Leersen, Chief Architect for the Faroe Islands. So Mafalda, the floor is yours.
I'm Mafalda Pafoas, Senior Solution Strategist at OutSystems, and I'm very excited to be here today with Janus Leersen, Chief Architect for the National Digitalization Program at the Faroe Islands. Janus is going to walk us through the project of the digitalization journey at the Faroe Islands. He's going to tell us why they chose low code to implement it, and specifically why OutSystems. And then he's going to explain us a little bit of the building blocks of the complex infrastructure they've built. And we're also going to see a demo on the citizen portal that is called Banjit. He is also going to discuss with us how the experience has been and what the future looks like for the digital program at the Faroe Islands. At the end, we'll have opportunity to have some Q&A. All right, so Janus, welcome, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mafalda, and I'm excited to share our experience with the digitalization journey we've had in the Faroe Islands. So where are the Faroe Islands? Well, you can see them there. It's a very small nation situated in the Atlantic Ocean, roughly in between Norway, Scotland, and Iceland. And let me give you some statistics. We have a population of roughly 55,000 people. And although we are a part of the Kingdom of Denmark, as is Greenland, you know, the big one up there and to the left, we are an autonomous state. So, and the society is pretty much based on the so-called Scandinavian model. So it's a welfare state. It's a fairly highly educated population, and we have our own national university.
So tell us a little bit more about the project and how it all started.
So why did we start the National Digitalization Project? So if we go back to 2015, the situation was that we have a fairly standard Western economy, with the exception that the fishing industry accounts for roughly 90% of exports. So, and we have a good sort of government IT infrastructure, first class systems for taxation and hospital management system, case management systems for welfare, all these things, but there were more back office applications. So there were really not a lot of citizen-facing portals and applications towards Faroe citizens and businesses. So there was a gap there, and the opportunity here was to introduce some citizen-facing applications. One of the benefits here was that we have a very high digital literacy. There's people are very used to IT. We have very good connectivity, so there was a lot of opportunity, and people were ready for these digital services. And so there's a lot of cost efficiency in digitizing various processes that citizens have with the government, municipalities, basically. So what we did was we created a strategy. We got a budget, and we got a team, and we started to basically do our work on digitizing the citizen services. Goals, obviously, to improve citizen experience and be more efficient in IT and citizen services. So the strategy consisted of a number of building blocks that were necessary. If we take it from the beginning here, we have on the left, we have our electronic identity, which we call Samlagin. It's based on the ADAS regulation, the European regulations for electronic identities and digital signatures. That is pretty much a prerequisite, because when you identify yourself to citizen services or any service, you need to authenticate and you need to identify yourself. We also had a fairly large list of basic registries. We have a civil registry with all the persons, a business registry, land cadastre registry, land registry, and some geodata. And these are applications that needed data cleaning. They needed to be more digitized, basically. And in order to kind of make these data free to access, and to be of good quality and reliable. And we needed also a way to exchange data in the public sector. Actually, also the private sector, but it's the law in the Faroe Islands at this point is that every information that is shared among government services, municipal services, has to go through the system on the right there called Heldin, which is based on the Estonian X-Road architecture.
Oh, can you explain us a little bit more? What's the Estonian X-Road, in case our audience is not familiar with that?
Yeah, and the Estonian X-Road system is basically a system-to-system encryption system, where you encrypt everything that goes from government registries, and you also have a audit trail on data information or data exchange. So if you, for example, as a citizen are being case handled, then if a government agency requests data from, for instance, the civil registry or anywhere else in a government database, this action will be audited and timestamped so that you have full visibility into where your data is going as a citizen. The challenge here is that we have a limited budget, of course, and a limited time to implement all these systems. It's a very ambitious program. So what do we do? There are some shortcuts you can make, obviously, in creating systems. You can buy off the shelf. You can reuse something that others have done. but we were having all these problems that you can see here, where there was a time constraint. There's a talent shortage in the Faroe Islands. A lot of citizens go to abroad to study, and not all of them come back. We have a fairly small IT industry compared to our Scandinavian neighbors, and so we needed to get these applications built in a efficient manner, and using as little resources as possible.
Well, and I'm assuming that it had to be secure too. So right, so that's why probably off-the-shelf packages were not an option.
Well, these systems that we were going to build were fairly. I mean, although they are probably quite standard for any nation to have citizen portals and all these e-services for citizens, there's really no off-the-shelf solution for this. So it's either, yeah, you can maybe take off-the-shelf solutions, but you have to customize them heavily. The other scenario is that you build a custom application, which is also a very usual way to do this. But given the constraints that we had, it was it seemed that this was not going to be an option if we were going to reach our target by staying on budget and on time.
Right. What you say, like using high code, right? So building customized using high code was not an option either, right?
Exactly. Java.
What about the time constraint? Can you just tell us a little bit about the timelines that you had for this project?
Yes. Well, we started in 2017, and we had to. The goal was to build all these systems and infrastructure in 5 years, and not only build them in 5 years, but have them running and stable, and all the citizens onboarded basically. So I would say 3 years to build and 2 years to stabilize and to kind of distribute to all the citizens. Yep.
So I guess the question now that the audience wants to know is then, why did you choose high performance low code?
When we started, we built the electronic identity solution first, and it's a very complex and very composed solution with lots of products, public key infrastructure, and it was probably also a good wake-up call to see how big and complex these composed, complex solutions are, and how many moving parts there are in such a system. And so basically we thought that we have to change course when it comes to the other solutions, the more traditional registries that we're going to build and the portals, because an electronic identity is a very specialized solution. So I started to do a lot of research, looking at all the obvious kind of research organizations like Gartner, IDC, looking online, doing desktop research on all these things that you can see here in the list. And pretty soon I landed on low code because of various benefits that I saw, at least on paper at that point, that you have a kind of all-in-one full stack development platform where you don't have to have all these solutions and all these development environments and everything kind of composed by various products. It's all an all-in-one solution. And as an architect, I'm very interested and very passionate about the software development lifecycle and the management of that, which can be heavy. It requires a lot of talent, requires a lot of effort and detail to get those things right. There's also infrastructure that has to be set up for all these things. And at that point, one-click deployment was fairly standard with some solutions, but that was absolutely a must. If we were going to build all these solutions where we knew that there were going to be a lot of reusability, a lot of integrations, a lot of libraries were going to be reused, because we were going to integrate to a lot of systems from the systems that we were going to build. So dependency analysis and all these components that we're going to build inbuilt, that's a great feature as well. And all these things, health monitoring, system analytics, all these things built into one platform was it was an enticing solution. And
well, and I imagine like having a single code base for apps, mobile apps and web, that was probably also important, because I assume that mobile was also providing mobile apps is also part of the plan, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's become something that was possible in the early days of OutSystems in this was 2018, 19. It's increasingly so now with the newest versions of OutSystems. But it was a feature already then. But absolutely, because we have built other apps and other solutions where we have, of course, the iOS and the Android code bases, and there is extra work going into maintaining and feature enriching all these apps with two different platforms. For sure, a lot of time goes into updating libraries, updating the framework on which you code for iOS and Android. So, that's for sure something a great benefit. Yeah, and also because we knew we were going to have several teams building different applications, the access control and how you granulate those among developers and who gets to promote applications to the various environments in the software development lifecycle. Also inbuilt, a very great feature there. And and something I was thinking about a lot then, but that has become probably one of the main benefits of OutSystems is the limited time spent on operations and maintenance for this platform, which is very low compared to other systems that we have built.
Yeah, and I assume that frees your time and your team's time to think about new features and how to innovate further, right?
Yeah, and it's just the budget is also a very important thing for us. I can see that in some of our applications we're actually using too much on maintenance and just keeping libraries and products up to date, where we I think on OutSystems are fairly free to think about features and not so much the platform itself. So a very low percentage of our time is being spent on maintenance and operations, basically.
Yeah, that's great, because ultimately this project is meant to be user-centric, and the entire goal is to create better services for your citizens, right? So having more time to think about that and not on keeping the lights on, I can see that as being a very big advantage.
Yeah, we actually just had the security patch installed this week. It went very smoothly. Every application, this was a big one because we had to kind of republish all the applications and rebuild them. But it took 2 days from patching, lifetime patching all the environments. I would expect that to have taken several weeks on a normal platform.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, and where does the citizen portal come into this? So if we're looking at this diagram, this is a very high level architecture sort of our program, where we have in the middle we have our X-Road, which is the integration services. We have on the upper left we have our EID, which we use to log in to all the applications. And we have our basic data on the right. So Helden, the X-Road system, allows audited and encrypted information exchange. And our citizen portal, Vengeon, is utilizing these three building blocks, so to say. So you log in with our EID, SumLegend, and as the citizen portal is pretty light on data. We try to only store data in locally that is absolutely necessary. Most of the data is viewed in the portal through our X-Road instance. So when you log on, which we'll see later, you can see various data about you and the services that you're allowed to apply for, your children, family, and yeah, from various systems you can see that through the kind of one-stop shop citizen portal that we created.
That's great. So you were just mentioning, sorry to interrupt you. So is this going to, just for you to give some more specific examples of exactly the types of use cases and things that citizens can do now using the portal? So you were just talking about kids. What kinds of services can citizens have access to now?
Yeah, so the citizen portal is a kind of it's a very agile project because there's probably indefinitely many services that you can put on there. But we started out with looking at what is what can we do? What do citizens apply for? What is the information that they're interested in? Basically, we have some portals today. There were some existing portals for applying for benefits, viewing your tax information. These kinds of systems existed, but I think we counted up to maybe 100 PDF documents that we could, at that point before the citizen portal, your task as a citizen was, if you were going to apply for something, you go into some portal, you download a PDF document, you fill it out, you print it, fill it out, and you scan it, and you send it into the government agency that you're applying something for. So basically just digitizing those PDF documents was a huge win, and some low-hanging fruits. We also had sort of we have a citizen mailbox with where you can log in and get information from the government, from doctor's appointment, those kinds of things. So basically government services. That was going into the portal as well.
But you're also supporting the private sector, right? So I can see that you're also enabling this portal to give access or easier access to other services provided by the private sector. So that's very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't really done a lot of private sector yet because there's so many low-hanging fruits in the government sector. But for sure, there's we're going to allow people to view their pension information, insurance information. So there are some definitely some private sector interesting things that we can put into the citizen portal. But we're kind of taking it in the approach of digitizing the government services first and municipalities, and then looking at what we can do with the private sector as well.
Okay. Are these entities excited about the project? So just, thinking about municipalities or even, healthcare organizations in the Faroe Islands, have they participated in the process? and on how to streamline those processes as they go digital?
Yeah. So the way that this works is that we have a great team in the citizen portal with all the normal roles you'll see in a Scrum team. We have UX, we have project management, we have developers, and we have business analysts. And the way this works is that increasingly so, government agencies, municipalities are approaching us with their needs, their digital needs, because we have, as we are a small country, it's overkill for most municipalities to build their own portals and digital services, and it's a huge cost saving to build a one-stop shop for municipalities and government agencies. So what usually happens is that we're approached by, let's say, a municipality or many municipalities that kind of combined approach us, and they express their needs, and we do the whole empathy map and basic business requirements for these municipalities, for instance, and
for their
then
processes, right? So you help them optimize their processes to transform them into digital processes, right?
Yes. All the normal municipal or government services that are non-digitized today, we figure out a good way to digitize it and develop it, test it, and get approval from the client, so to say, the service provider, and then we put it into production.
Yeah, this is a great example of how this project actually brings IT closer to the business and to the citizens, because everybody needs to work together as one team, as almost like a fusion team, to bring that to life, right? So transforming the processes now, and then how that experience translates into a portal, a mobile app. So that's really interesting, what you were just describing, that everyone comes together to create that experience for citizens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, now you mentioned it, of course, there's an app as well as it is OutSystems. So, and what we're seeing is that 80% of usage of the citizen portal is through the app. There's almost everything you can do in a browser you can do through the app, and that's part of.
Do you reuse those components? So when you build for web, do you reuse components for mobile and vice versa?
Yeah, we do now. In the beginning, we were using the classical web development in OutSystems to create the portal, and so there was a slightly different code base for the apps. But at this point, or at least I think for the past half year or so, everything's been migrated or refactored over to reactive code. So pretty much everything is one code base.
So this is a great moment. You're going to show us the demo.
Yeah. Okay, let me share my screen. So we have the person Sally Kragsten, and this is the first page when you log on. This is the home page where we have some outstanding payments. We have a calendar, and where our service providers, such as the Department of Motor Vehicles, the hospital, various service providers can put appointments into the citizens calendar here. We have in the bottom here, we have our inbox, sort of government inbox. And this here is, so we have various tabs that we can go on, but let me just stress that we've used a lot of effort into the UX here. We're not using a theme from OutSystems. we created a custom theme here. It took a little while to get it exactly as we wanted, mostly because of trying to decide how it should look and feel. But when we created the theme, it is very easily reusable across the applications that we're going to build, and we want those applications to have a common identity. And we put a lot of effort into accessibility. We're integrating to a system called UserWay, an open source accessibility tool, so that our portal is usable for all citizens. We can just do a little demo here, invert the colors, dark contrast, light contrast, highlighting the links, bigger text, and text spacing. Dyslexia friendly. Large cursor. Reading mask. Reading guide. Line height. All these things that are kind of all picked from the WCAG2 accessibility standards. Text alignment. So a lot of effort going into this. Obviously, a lot of our citizens accessing the citizen portal, especially those accessing it a lot, have some accessibility needs. There we go.
Yeah, I would say accessibility and security are probably the most important features of whatever applications a government authority builds, right?
Yeah, certainly. It's a highly secured login mechanism, and OutSystems is kind of also highly secured. We have a local installation here, so everything is very secured. And using the X-Road software as well. Data in transit is encrypted. Everything is audited. So yeah, exactly. Security and accessibility, very important. So if we look at what kind of self-services we have, this is kind of we have two kind of contexts we can look at things through. We have the self-services where it's more centered around what can I apply for, what can I do in the citizen portal. So some of these are kind of funny because it's a non-production environment, live and let go here, but yeah, it's not like that on production. So we have family registration of your citizen data, healthcare, pension, subsidies, address and buildings. You can change your address here, and it's everything is changed in the actual backend system where it needs to be changed. You can apply for student loan, study grant. You can actually also change vehicle owner registration in here using digital signature with the EID. Apply for childcare, various things here. Then there's another context. It's the same services, but divided by service providers. So as you can see here, lots of public institutions, lots of municipalities. We almost have all the municipalities on the portal at this point. So
do you have a roadmap for new municipalities to be added?
Yeah, and using the templates that we've used for the first big municipality, we can reuse all those templates for all the applications you can do. Changing address, applying for childcare, all these things are very fast to develop once we get a new municipality on. So yeah, definitely one of the strengths of the platform. And businesses, not so many right now, as I said before, but we do have a tunnel. We have lots of tunnels in the Faroe Islands, and you pay to use them, and you can kind of fill up your account and see where you've been, how much you've used the tunnels. So, but yeah, this is probably one of the things that we're going to focus on in the near future, adding more business value here. I think that's pretty much what I'm going to demo today. There's, as you can see, a lot of services here. I think we have over 100 self-services on the portal at this point, and that is just growing, I guess, linearly. So I think we're going to at least have 150 or more self-services by the end of the year. And as this is a one-stop shop, we see no sort of practical limits to what kind of citizen services we can put into this portal. So a very interesting project.
Thank you so much for the demo. This is great. I mean, it's amazing the breadth of services that you actually have made available on the portal. So I guess what we are interested to learn now is, what has the experience been with the digitization? So can you just tell us how it started and what you feel today, that what are the differences, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's the program itself, I would say, is a big success. We've reached, as you can probably saw on the front page of or landing page of the citizen portal, we have almost 40,000 users, which is almost the entire grown-up population in the Faroe Islands. So the reach is wide. There's a lot of usage of our applications. I would say that the journey, if we're talking about low-code OutSystems, the experience there has been, as I can imagine, a lot of your customers have experienced, that it's not an easy ride to get vendors on board with low-code if they're used to traditional development. So we had some pushback from the industry, I would say, in the beginning, but I think that is something, that a hurdle that you just have to get over, and it's about the product. It's about developing features for your clients. So I think we're in a good spot right now. What we did was as this is an on-premise solution as well, it was not trivial to install it, especially when we had such high security requirements. So basically everything, all networks shut down, and so we had some help installing the platform from OutSystems experts. Yeah, and I would say it was beneficial to get OutSystems experts here early to kind of build the foundations of the systems that we were going to build, and kind of install a best practice in OutSystems development, using the architecture dashboard, and using the platform in an optimal way, because it is a large platform. It's very feature rich. So, and there's many ways to do different things. So what is the best way? So that's kind of a good takeaway, to get experts in early and establish a best practice on the platform. And yeah, I mean, in general, I would say that it's interesting to see how developers are being productive on the platform. some developers are a little bit reluctant and maybe never really get into the OutSystems mode of development, whereas we could have fairly inexperienced developers doing great work, kind of really growing with the platform and seeing the benefits of it. So I would say it's we're in a good spot. It's a good platform for us right now, and we see a lot of reuse for the various systems that we're going to build next, which we are building right now. Not all of them are live, but we're approaching go live for a number of systems. We've seen a lot of
actually let's dive into that, right? So tell us what's next, and the cool projects that you have on your pipeline.
Yeah. So our taxation agency is using OutSystems. It's not the same organization as we are, but they're using the platform, and in that respect, the access control is a very big benefit, that we can granulate access to develop on various components within OutSystems. So taxation office is using it. We ourselves are building a business registry, authoritative business registry. So that's our first kind of real registry system that we're using, building OutSystems, building using OutSystems. So that's going to be the authoritative registry for all businesses and government agencies. And it's a very interesting project. It's basically a self-service portal where you go in and create a business within, I would say, 15 minutes. So you apply for a business, and everything, the data goes, signed data goes into a back office, which we also built with OutSystems. And if it's approved, you have a business within a day, maybe. So that's one of the real big systems that we're building right now, and those are the kinds of systems that they're probably going to have a lifetime of 10-15 years. So very important systems, a very important application here in the Faroe Islands. Another thing is Europe is really going wide, or really doing a lot of digitalization with wallets. And so a digital driver's license is used fairly broadly across Europe, and we used OutSystems to create a wallet app where we put various ID cards in, a driver's license, a citizen card, with the possibility to expansion for any card, blood donor, could be a health card. So a very interesting app. And with that particular app, there was a lot of reusability from the citizen portal. So basically, you reuse all the integrations, and a lot of code reuse there. So that was real quick. I think we built the entire system, which is fairly complex, using complex business logic and QR codes, scanners, and security is a very big thing in such a system. Incidentally, we used the app shield from OutSystems as well to protect this app and the citizen portal app. So a great benefit there, where we don't have to kind of have developers worrying about security and fortifying apps. That's all taken care of by App Shield. And then we're increasingly building citizen portal backend or back office applications, where the service providers can pretty much in a CMS kind of way manage their content on the citizen portal. and activate and deactivate services themselves without developer interaction. So lots of interesting stuff going on, yeah.
Yeah, this is great. And actually, I think we can go to Q&A, because actually I just see two questions that are totally relate to what you were saying. So actually, people are curious because you were mentioning those integrations, like QR code readers, all of those things. So did you have any issues? This is one of the questions that we got. Do you have any issues integrating OutSystems with your existing tech stack and with this additional systems?
Well, since we're using the X-Road system, there was kind of a hurdle that we had to get over, because the way that we integrate has to go through Helden or X-Road, and there's a very particular way to do that. But early on, we developed within OutSystems a component that takes care of that translation between the actual service and the kind of security that's in front of the service with X-Road. So yeah, I would say, I mean, when we create features and functions within OutSystems, it's as you know, people probably are aware of listening to this, that it's a lot of the time it's a one-click development effort to expose services and to utilize services. And I would say, even with going through X-Road, it's a fairly easy integration effort. So, yeah.
That's great. Thank you for that. The other question that we got actually also relates to what you were explaining, is how did you decide which services to develop first? Because as you were saying, there are so many possibilities and you're building so much. So one of our viewers is actually curious on how you prioritize what to build next.
Yeah, I think we put a lot of effort into really reflecting on what things would be useful for the citizens. With the citizen portal, it was low-hanging fruits, such as all these tedious application forms that you have to kind of download and fill out and scan and send in again. So I think we took the obvious things first, but I think we're beyond the obvious phase right now, where we have an EID, we can authenticate to all our systems, we have an integration platform, we have over 100 sort of self-services on the portal. We're building a business registry. So I would say the non-obvious things are built by this point, and at this point we're just putting a lot of effort in reflecting on what would be really useful for citizens and businesses in the Faroe Islands, which is it's not a trivial task. We certainly do take inspiration from other countries, Scandinavian countries, Baltic countries, which are kind of very mature in the digitalization efforts. But of course, we do have an advantage that we're a small team. We can move fast. We have a lot of traction. People are happy about what we're doing. So yeah, there's a lot of things that we can do next, but we're putting a lot of thought into what kind of services are next.
Well, thank you so much, Janus, for your presentation and for walking us through the project and the challenges, what you've built. I think this is great for the people who are watching us to just see how it was possible for you to cater to so many use cases using a single platform. You are able to build very customized apps that are highly secure. You can actually integrate with pretty much everything and serve your citizens better than ever before. And you do have very high standards, as you say. You're trying to you use other more mature countries and what they're doing, and you really have high standards. So this is great. This is great to learn from you and from your experience. So I want to thank you for sharing your experience today. It has been my pleasure.
You're welcome. My pleasure as well.
Okay, thank you so much for watching today's session. So if you are interested in building pixel perfect apps and you're excited to do that with OutSystems, you can learn more about downloading or scanning the QR code and read the ebook on the IT Leader's Guide to Building Customer Apps and Portals. It's been my pleasure to host Janus and to learn from the Faroe Islands experience. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.
Okay, yeah, thanks, Mafalda and Janice, for the really interesting discussion. It was great to see concrete benefits in the Faroe Islands from using that low-code approach, and we appreciate all of your insights there in the Q&A as well. Now, before we wrap up, we have one more piece of business. It's the Amazon gift card prize drawing, and the winner of that $250 Amazon gift card is Mike Yashkovsky from Delaware. So congratulations to Mike. We'll be in touch about getting you your card. And with that, on behalf of the Actual Tech Media team, I want to thank OutSystems for making this event possible. And thanks as always for attending and for your great questions. That concludes this event. Have a fantastic rest of your day.